Hello, my name is Kevin Fulbright. I'd like to welcome you aboard to a fine agency here at the Indian Health Service. I'm the Section 508 Program Manager for the Indian Health Service, and today I'll be presenting on the importance of Section 508 here at the agency. Disability becomes more common in adults as they age. 2 in every 5 Americans age 65 and older live with disability. According to the World Health Organization, 1.3 billion people globally live with disability, making them the largest minority group in the world. This is why it's critical at the Indian Health Service that our information communications technology is accessible to people of all abilities. The items we'll be discussing today are Section 508's origins. Section 508 comes from the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. We'll then discuss the ICT acronym, Information Communications Technology. Section 508 essentially encompasses everything ICT. Then we'll move into the importance of buying accessible ICT. At some point or another in your Indian Health Service career, you will more than likely have to procure a digital technology solution that falls under Section 508's requirements. Finally, we'll wrap up with contacts and resources that you should know. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is a federal law prohibiting discrimination on the basis of disability in federal jobs, federal contract work, and all federally funded programs and activities. The 508th Amendment, established in 1998 during the internet and computing boom of the 1990s. The law was refreshed in 2018 to incorporate technology such as mobile devices and multifunction systems such as network copier, printers, and scanners. Guidelines were then established with how technology should work with assistive components that users with disabilities employ, such as screen readers, to interact with modern technology. As you can see here on this slide, ICT is any technology used in communications and covers a wide spectrum. At any point in your workday at the Indian Health Service, you will interact with several of these items. One example, drafting digital documents and emails. You want to keep things in mind, such as font size, no smaller than font size 12. Font type, we want to avoid contemporary or unorthodox font types, such as comics, sans, or anything that's cursive that replicates a signature. Those things can be difficult to process for folks with vision impairment, vision disability. In addition, their assistive technologies such as screen readers can sometimes be unable to read back those type of font types accurately. And finally, and just as important, data table accessibility. If you're using a simple table to display data, and by simple I mean well-defined headers at the very top and an equal ratio of columns to rows, that's fine. It's the complex data tables that have merged cells, that have headers all throughout the table, that have an uneven amount of columns to rows. Those are the type of tables that typically break accessibility. Screen readers have trouble reading back the information in an orderly manner, which can produce confusion for somebody with disabilities. When you are purchasing digital products or services, it is important to think of Section 508 from the start. If you do not, it becomes more expensive to remediate and retrofit the acquired solution. Most importantly, time is wasted for customers and stakeholders with disabilities who need that solution to complete their duties and tasks. Section 508 applies to all ICT micro purchases and major acquisitions. Building off the previous slide, this emphasizes the importance of thinking of Section 508 from the beginning, such as in the Enterprise Project Lifecycle, the EPLC. Ideally, you want to consider Section 508 during the concept planning and requirements phase. This is what shifting Section 508 to the left means. This is early in the project life cycle. In addition, if what you're pursuing in terms of solutions requires a contract, you want to think of Section 508 early in the contracting life cycle. Ideally during the pre-RFP, that is request for proposal, and solicitation phase. This is when you want to get Section 508 in your contracting documents so that when you put out your RFIs, your request for information, in your statement of work, in your performance work statement, are all of the Section 508 clauses according to acquisition regulations so that nothing can be blurred or confused by vendors so that they know that the solution they're proposing to the government is mandated by law to be Section 508 compliant. Wrapping things up here are some important links that you need to know. Let me just add that if you require this slide deck, I would be happy to produce it on request. My contact information is here. The Section 508 SharePoint, that first link, is an internal site that has a lot of helpful how-to checklist and guides and videos with common applications and tools that you'll use daily, such as Microsoft Word, Adobe Acrobat Professional, and the other Office 365 applications. There's information there on helping you be compliant and accessible. The Section 508 foundational training will soon become a mandatory requirement for all contractors and full-time employees as HHS updates its policy. That will become a requirement within a couple of months here. And that's in addition to the other annual training that you do, such as information security. So just so you know, Section 508 will become part of that whole gamut of items you need to complete annually. And finally, buying accessible ICT. As mentioned earlier, at one point or another, you're probably going to need to tick the boxes and procure something that falls under the purview of ICT in Section 508. This training from GSA should take about an hour or less, and it will provide you all the information you need to know to be Section 508 compliant in your ICT purchases. Again, my name is Kevin Fulbright. I'm the program manager for Section 508. Thank you for your time today, and welcome aboard to the Indian Health Service.